Hello everybody, my name is Mod and welcome back to our survival world. We have some pretty legendary stuff that's going to happen in this video and I'm really excited. I've been planning this one for quite a while. Now I was walking through this area, I want to say about a month ago now, and I really was just appreciating the peaks of these mountains here, and then it kind of came to me. I want to get back to mountain building. This sort of densely populated with vegetation area is something I think I want to keep to this area specifically, at least for now, but there is a spot in this world that I've been kind of hinting at for the past couple of months that I think has the potential to be even greater than the peaks on our right or the whole valley in general. And that view just happens to be right here. Now, I mean, you'll have to use your imagination a little bit for this, but just imagine coming around the corner of this hill here and just seeing a gorgeous Mount Fuji style mountain right around here. Especially since we'll have our city in the foreground here, I think it'll be really something special. So I want you to try and remember this kind of view here for the end of the video, and we'll see what kind of comes out of it by then. Now, with that being said, I have quite a few materials sort of gathered in our area over here, and I'll show you in just a second. Now, this is where I've been keeping a lot of the materials that we're going to use. As you can see, all of this stuff mostly up in the top section of here, since down here is just more leaves and tree stuff. But up here is where we're going to have a lot of the stuff that we're going to need from the mountain. But coming across the lake here, you can see that we have a couple of these little lanterns held up by a pole here, and this sort of dotted around this sort of pathway leading all the way back towards where our mountain's going to be. And I got a great suggestion from one of the Discord members saying, you know, these lanterns right here and here, they're not going to light themselves. So we might as well make a small building or some sort of shack where a couple of park rangers or just people that sort of take care of the grounds here could actually fuel the lanterns and sort of upkeep the rest of the park from. And I figured that would be a really nice idea. I felt that this would be the perfect spot to do it since you have a bit of shade here and it's nicely framed by the trees on the left and the right. And then maybe we could build some sort of storage unit on this side too, since I feel like this sight line could be missing something. Now I'm going to get this all built up and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Alright, now we've actually finished not one but two buildings here, and both buildings serve different purposes. Now what I mean by that is, as we talked about before, these lanterns here and all the way down there, they all need manual maintenance done to them and to be lit up and whatnot. And the whole idea behind this is that this place is more of like a workshop, while down here is more of like a living quarters and a storage unit. And I figured that this was the perfect place to do it just because it's framed beautifully by our cherry blossoms in the background. And then we also get a nice silhouette of our other building down here, our storage unit, with the castle in the background and all the lanterns we have set up here and all the bushes. It really turns out nicely. Now taking a look inside, we can see we've actually, on the outside too, we've used our new shelves, and then inside I kind of used like a basic idea here where obviously I could get a little bit more creative, but I felt for now it was okay. I just added a couple candles here and a couple more candles here because I figured, you know, they probably need a good bit of fire just to get all these lanterns going. And I also have a fireplace, of course, here with some extra firewood here, and then also in our storage unit down there, which I'll just show off now. Actually, before I show that off, I'll go a little bit more bunch of detail about this building. So I figured that, you know, there's rocks here, and to me it kind of felt natural that the closer you kind of get to nature with these rocks, maybe rain falls and it sort of splats onto the roof here, that this side of the roof would be a little bit more decayed and decrepit compared to over here where it's not as overgrown with these plants over here. Now, because this is just a workshop and that's the living quarters, I felt it might be a little bit more appropriate that this is more decrepit and less taken care of, as the roof here is a bit more overgrown, like I was saying. While this place over here, you can see the copper hasn't oxidized, maybe they take a bit more care of it, and then the walls here also aren't as worn down. Of course, there's a little bit of worn down wall on this side, and then also on this side here too. But as you can see from the front here, it's taken pretty good care of. And then looking on inside, you can kind of tell right off the bat that it's more of a storage unit. We've got the classic chests here, a whole bunch of barrels, even more firewood like this. And then also you might notice that there's only one lantern in here and a couple of candles back here as well. Just because this isn't necessarily something that's super important to see in the dark compared to the other building down there. And of course, people have some sleeping quarters in here. Now, I'm sure that these aren't used that often, but if they are used, you know, you don't want to have too much light in your eyes while you're trying to sleep. And as it's dark out now, you can see just how important the lanterns are, sort of lighting up the area, and then how moody it is out inside here. And now that it's morning, let me take care of these mobs really quick. Anyway, like I was saying, now that it's morning, you can kind of see the sort of vibe we were going for here. It's really atmospheric. It's come out great. But I know that you guys have been waiting, and I've collected all the materials that we'll need. So now it's time to sort of challenge ourselves and really get to terraforming. And I know we did all this last episode, but it was all in preparation for this big project. But anyway, let's get started and let's build this mountain. Well, hello there guys. We finally finished our mountain and it's looking glorious. I'm really happy with how it's turned out. Like I was saying before, this thing has been probably 6 months in the making. At this point, maybe 7 or 8 months. So I'm really happy that we've actually gone ahead and built the thing rather than just, you know, had it in the back of our minds for so long. But the last thing that we're gonna have to do over here is there's a big open space over here and over here, and I felt that, you know, having sort of this pink color in the back would be really nice. So we're gonna go ahead and add some trees, but before we do all that, let's go ahead and take a closer look at what we've done. Now, of course, this doesn't look exactly like the real-life counterpart. It's sort of loosely based off of Mount Fuji, of course. We can't really make a mountain as high as a real mountain in real life because we have the sky block limit, but we have, you know, quite a lot of detail that we've been able to fit in here, and we've done some new, I guess, highlights and texturing. So we have all of this different color and texture put into the rock. especially over here where it's sort of brighter than the rest, it's almost acting like as a highlight. Now we'll also have to wait for all the dirt to sort of turn into grass over here, because I guess I was too far away for it to be rendered in properly. But coming all the way up here, the whole side of this mountain is amazing. It's really nice and I'm really happy. Just kidding, there's nothing back here yet. It looks pretty neat though. If I go into my free cam here, you can see it looks like a big tidal wave almost going over the landscape. But I do have plans for this side of the mountain. It's going to be a while since it's such a large project to tackle, and plus there's nothing over here anyway to appreciate it. Now heading on up to the top here, it's important to remember that Mount Fuji isn't actually a mountain. I mean, I guess it is, but it's mainly a volcano, but it's in an active one. So I've kind of made like a crater up here to somewhat mimic a volcano, and we've had some basalt down here, which I'm pretty sure is from dried lava or cooled down lava. Maybe a geologist could correct me in the comments, but it might look a little bit of something like this. So of course we don't have like the backside yet done, so this would curve all the way around, but you kind of get the nice effect here with that. And then this up here right on this block, I believe is the highest point in the world. And yeah, we're at almost 300 blocks, 296. Whereas the mountain down there, I think is in the 280s or maybe 290s. It's not even rendered in at the moment, but you kind of get the idea. And being all the way up here, you can really see like all the dead space we have here and over here. And I'm really excited because this will all be places where we'll have a bunch of projects to work on. And one of my favorite views is just seeing the city in the distance like that. That is really special. It's something right there. Now, one thing that does excite me a lot is heading up to the mountain over here, or the hillside house that I was talking about in the beginning of the video. And that way we can check out what the heck's going on with the view that I kind of had you keep in mind earlier on. I don't know if you remember, but I'm sure your memory is coming back to you now. But what I'm talking about is right in here. If we go through this door, we get a really nice morning view, in this case, a view of the mountain. And I think we'll see it in just a couple of seconds. It'll come more into view with the fog fading. But I think something like that is really special. It's nice, it's framed by our windows here, and then you can see just how special this view is. It's really, really cool. And in a couple of months, when we've built the city up even more, I'm excited to see how the skyline kind of interacts with the mountain in the distance. And then I have a whole bunch of trees and forests that I want to add to this place too, to really make everything pop and give it more of a character, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you guys are pretty curious as to what this whole place looks like without shaders, especially the mountain. So you can see it's absolutely gorgeous. It really, really came together well. Now, I don't want to get too distracted with the shaders and the views and stuff because we're not actually done yet. I want to go ahead and add those cherry blossom trees as I'd mentioned earlier on. So I'll go do that and I'll see you guys in the next couple of real life days probably, but it'll just be a second for you, of course. Alright, this is much better. It's pretty much exactly what I had in mind. The only thing that we really have to fix itself is the dirt here on the side that has to turn into grass, but otherwise we're pretty much golden. Now the trees over here and sort of the environment that I have is something I want to replicate down by the base of the mountain where the other cherry blossoms are. Like as you can see with this tree for example, and all the other ones down here, there's a whole bunch of vegetation sort of stringing down. There's a bunch of details on the floor and stuff. And I think the vegetation with the trees might be a little bit too much to add over down that way for now at least. But things like the petals on the floor and the lilacs here and the ferns and stuff, those are small things that I think I could definitely replicate and would add a lot to the area down there. Now, as you can see, it's really barren down here. I think if we add a whole bunch of petals and just make the ground really pink, I guess, especially towards where the trees are, that could help a lot. Because I could imagine this whole area here being just full of vegetation and life. Detailing in general here is going to be a big task, so let's get some stuff and we'll work on that now. Now we are finally back, finished up a lot of the decorating that we had planned on doing here. Of course, there are little things that, you know, I could add, maybe a little shack here or down here, or just sort of some sort of structure, kind of like how we have it down in this area. That really helped to add a lot. Now, a few people had actually suggested that instead of like these little flowers here and there, I should have them in more large patches. So that's kind of what I try to go with here, and I think that that's something that I'll definitely do in the future. It just takes a little bit more time because you have to break the bone meal as you go, and it's a little bit tricky to tell from here, but like it's the same story with this tree where I have a bunch of these petals on the floor. So if you go up close to them, you can really tell the difference. There's a lot more color up here. As for now, this is going to be the only side of detailing that I do. Another time we can work on this side of the mountain, but I figured that this would be a good start, and we could go ahead and work on a couple of other little projects in the meantime. And speaking of which, I felt like down here there was something small missing, and what I kind of concluded that that thing might be is a small tree just around here, maybe dangling over with a couple of like dead leaves coming down and stuff like that, just to give this place a little bit more of an atmospheric feel. Even from inside here, having something here I think would definitely help fill up the area. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'll see you guys in just a few minutes. Oh yeah, I think that that adds quite a bit to this terrain. And this is something I kind of want to replicate all throughout this little area here, and then, you know, beyond in future projects as well. Yeah, like standing here, could you imagine just, you know, not a whole forest necessarily, but just trees kind of like that lining this side and this side, making it all seem busy and, you know, real. And then you'll have like this sightline of the mountain in the background, of course, to complement the whole view. So yeah, we've got some really exciting stuff to work on in the future. I also wanted to come back here to where we were sort of at the beginning of the video, so you can get a callback as to what we had viewed in the beginning, and you can see just how much this whole place is transformed. The view from this house too has got to be killer. Let's take a look. Yeah, that is absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to add more houses around and get awesome views just like this one, especially from down here in the town. I've cranked up my render distance way high for this shot. Now, of course, it'll be a little bit laggy, I apologize, but I'm using these new shaders just to kind of show off what we made. And you can see, you know, what was this, a year ago now I must have made this, or at least started on it, and it really turned out great. And I'm really excited to see where this place will be in about a year from now, especially when it comes to our city here. Now, with this whole sort of plains area, I'd love to get your guys' input on what you think I should put here, what buildings I should put, what little structures, shrines, even trees, what kind of trees I should put. Just let me know. All your suggestions are really valued. But either way, I wanted to say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.